Hi everyone, today we shall discuss important MCQ on research methodology. First question is, a statement made about a population for testing purpose is called. A statement, remember, a statement made about a population for testing purpose, it is called a statement. Remember, statement. So that is a hypothesis. If the assumed hypothesis is tested for rejection, so remember the word rejection, considering it to be true is called null hypothesis. A statement whose validity is tested. So once again I repeat, a statement whose validity, the word validity you remember, okay, validity is tested on the basis of a sample is called statistical hypothesis. The answer is statistical hypothesis. A hypothesis which defines the population distribution. So, a hypothesis which defines the population distribution is called simple hypothesis. It is defining, okay. So, it is defines what the population distribution. It is a simple hypothesis. If the null hypothesis is false, then which of the following is accepted? That is, if null hypothesis is false, then the alternative hypothesis is accepted. The rejection probability of null hypothesis when it is true called as. So the rejection probability of null hypothesis when it is true. When it is true, it is called as what? It is called as level of significance. So the rejection probability of null hypothesis when it is true, that is called as what? Level of significance. Next, the point where the null hypothesis gets rejected. So here before we have read that the rejection probability of null hypothesis when it is true. Here they are saying the point where the null hypothesis gets rejected, that is called as critical value. Where the null hypothesis gets rejected, that point, that is called as a critical value. The point where the null hypothesis gets rejected is called as critical value, and it is also called as dividing point for separation of the reasons where hypothesis is accepted and rejected. If the critical reason, next question, if the critical reason is evenly distributed, then test is referred as. If the critical reason is evenly distributed, for example, critical reason, okay, it is distributed evenly, then the test is referred as, that is answer A, two-tailed test. That is two-tailed test. In two-tailed test, critical reason is evenly distributed. One reason contains the area where null hypothesis is accepted and another contains the area where it is rejected. Next question is, the type of test is defined by which of the following? So the answer is alternative hypothesis. The type of test is defined by which of the following? Alternative hypothesis. So alternative hypothesis defines whether the test is one-tailed test or two-tailed test. It is also called as what? Research hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis is also called as what? Research hypothesis. So validity means, you remember what? Validity statistical, and population distribution means simple hypothesis. And remember, if it is a rejection, that is null hypothesis. The remember statement, that is called as hypothesis. Statement made about a population for testing purpose, that is a hypothesis. And here rejection probability of null hypothesis, that rejection probability of null hypothesis, that is a level of significance. Next, which of the following is defined as the rule or formula to test a null hypothesis? Rule or formula. So the answer is test statistic. The answer is test statistic. So rule or formula. If you get the rule or formula, then remember the answer is test statistic. So test statistic provide a basis for testing a null hypothesis. A test statistic is a random variable that is calculated from a sample data and used in a hypothesis test. Next is, consider a hypothesis H0 where phi naught equals to phi against H1 where phi 1 is greater than phi. The test is a right-tailed test. For example, you think that this is a, they are saying that phi value, okay, this is a phi value. So they are saying that phi 1 is greater than phi. That means you will get here. So this is right and this is left. So this is, remember like this, this is a answer is right-tailed test. So the answer is right-tailed test. Next the question, if you observe, consider a hypothesis where H0 where phi naught equals to 23. So this line you think that 23, okay, against H1 where phi 1 is less than. So where phi 1 is less than, that means here, okay, this is left and here it is greater than, it is less than. So less than means what you will get, the answer is left, okay. So the answer is left-tailed test. The answer is left-tailed. Type 1 error occurs when? When type 1 error will occur? So when it is when we reject H0. H0 means null hypothesis, okay. So when reject null hypothesis, if it is true, that is the type 1. Opposite case for type 2, we accept H0 if it is false. So in sentence they are saying that in testing of hypothesis, type 1 error occurs when we reject H0 if it is true. On the that is type 2 error occurs when we accept H0 if it is false. The probability of type 1 error is referred as probability. Remember, probability of type 1 error, only the alpha, okay, not 1 minus alpha. The only alpha you will get the answer. In testing of hypothesis, type 1 error occurs when we reject, that is what they are saying. The probability of H0 is a alpha, then the error probability will be 1 minus alpha. Alternative hypothesis is also called as what? I have already said that research hypothesis. Next, what is the assumption made for performing the hypothesis test with the t distribution? So the answer is the distribution follows a normal distribution. The answer is the distribution follows a normal distribution. that explanation is, for testing of hypothesis with the t distribution, it is assumed that the distribution follows a normal distribution. The reason is identified, and hence based on the normal variate hypothesis, it is accepted or rejected. So the distribution follows a normal distribution. Next question is, if a hypothesis is rejected at 0.6 level of significance, then it may be rejected at 0.5 level. So if the hypothesis is rejected at 0.6 level of significance means, then P is less than 0.6. Hence P can be less than 0.5 also. So therefore it may be rejected at 0.5. So the answer, it may be rejected at 0.5 level. In the hypothesis test, what does the p-value signify? A smallest level of significance for rejection of null hypothesis. In hypothesis, p-value signifies the smallest level of significance for rejection of null hypothesis. That is, below this value, for every value, the hypothesis is rejected. Below this value, for every value, the hypothesis is rejected. So p-value means, p-value signifies the smallest level of significance for rejection of null hypothesis. Smallest level of significance. Remember that, smallest level of significance for rejection of null hypothesis. A null hypothesis has a level of significance 9%. For what values of level of significance it will be rejected? So they are saying 9%. So 9% means 0.09. Okay. So in before we have read that smallest level of significance for rejection. So what 0.09, that less than that value, okay, 0.09, it should be below that. So if you observe the four options, 0.99 we cannot consider, okay. So 0.009, which is less than 0.09. So we should consider that, okay. The answer is B. So the answer is B, because this is also greater. P value is 0.09. It should be less than that, okay. Consider a trial of criminal. If a type 1 error has occurred in the judgment, then which of the following statement is true? That is B. An innocent person is convicted. So type 1 error occurs when type 1 error means null hypothesis is true, but it is rejected. So here an innocent person is convicted. So considering null hypothesis as an innocent person and setting free as an acceptance. So if he has done any mistake, okay, if he has any done mistake, then if we accept it, that is a type 2 error. So innocent person is convicted. Null hypothesis, an innocent person and setting free has acceptance. An innocent person getting convicted is type 1 error. So it is true. So he has innocent, but we are rejecting, okay, we are not accepting that. So that is a type 1. Next, if a null hypothesis is accepted, then the value of test statistic lies in. in the acceptance reason. Okay, if a null hypothesis is accepted, then the value of test statistic lies in the acceptance reason. So here explanation is there. If a null hypothesis is accepted, then the value of test statistic lies in the acceptance reason. For a rejected null hypothesis, the value lies in the rejected reason. Next, the question is the test statistic for hypothesis testing is given by the formula. So what is the formula here? Sample statistic minus parameter divided by standard error. Test statistic for hypothesis testing, the formula is sample statistic minus parameter divided by standard error. The range of level of significance lies between 0 and 1. So once again I repeat, the range of level of significance lies between 0 and 1. The effect of rejection of a hypothesis with the decrease in sample size increases. So here if n decreases, then the level or the value of level of significance of each sample alpha decreases. Hence 1 minus alpha increases, which are called the rejection of test sample increases. Here, the effect of rejection of a hypothesis with the decrease in sample size, so that increases here. Next, the composite hypothesis holds true. When it holds true? When phi equals to phi naught, that is composite hypothesis holds true when the null hypothesis is equal to the alternative hypothesis. Here the value of alpha is 0.5. A paired test t-test consists of a n pair of observations. What is the number of degree of freedom of the test? So it is a value is, answer is n minus 1. A paired t-test consists of a n pair of observations. What is the number of degree of freedom of the test? That is n minus 1. N denotes the number of pair of samples in the test. Which of the following represents the confidence coefficient? So confidence coefficient is, answer is 1 minus alpha. So the level of confidence is represented by 1 minus alpha. It signifies the chance of the alternative hypothesis. Confidence coefficient 1 minus alpha. The independent values in a set of values. Independent values in a set of values of a test is called as what? Is called as degree of freedom. Independent values in a set of values, that is called as what? Degree of freedom. T-test sample has 7 pair of samples. So the distribution should contain n minus 1. So what you will get? 6 degree of freedom. Pair of samples. It is not an unpair of samples. It is a pair of samples. So n minus 1 formula you need to substitute. What does the central limit theorem state? So what does the central limit theorem state? If the sample size, so sample size n increases, sample distribution must approach normal distribution. If the sample size increases, so sample distribution that must approach to normal distribution. Standard error is always non-negative. It is true. Okay. Why? Because they are saying that when we square the mean for standard deviation, any negative value becomes positive. The addition of all the positive values result in a positive value. Then the square root of the positive value is also positive. Hence, all standard deviations are non-negative. Sampling error increases as we increase the sampling size. So sampling error is which is inversely proportional to the sampling size. So as we increasing the sampling error, it will not increase, it will decrease because it is a inversely proportional. So as the sampling size increases, the sampling error decreases. The difference between the sample value expected and the estimate value of the parameter. Sample value expected, for example, sample, okay, sample value we have expected some value, okay, and the estimate value of the parameter, estimate value of the parameter, that is called as what? It is called as bias. Difference between that, okay, difference between the sample value expected and the estimate value of a parameter, so that is called bias. In which of the following types of sampling the information is carried out under the opinion of an expert? So the if you come under quota sampling, convenience sampling, purposive sampling, judgment sampling. So in judgment sampling, the information is carried out under the opinion of an expert. Opinion of an expert if you get, so remember judgment sampling. Which of the following is a subset of a population? Subset of a population, sample, okay, that is a sample. Sampling error is defined as, what is a sampling error? So it is a difference between a population and sample. Sampling error is nothing but what? It is a difference between population and sample. Suppose we want to make a voters list for the general elections 2019, then we require what? We require, whether we require sampling error? No. Random error? No. We want census, okay. We should consider the census. So we need a list of people and we need to make a age or census. You'll come to know, right? For every year they will consider the population list and they will make out list of people and they will consider the age, right? So if we do the census, then we will get the list, voters list for the elections, right? Selection of a football team for FIFA World Cup is called as purposive sampling. Binomial distribution is a discrete distribution. Binomial distribution is a discrete distribution. In a binomial distribution, if P equals to Q, then Px equals to X is given by. So this question asked in the VTU-ETR 2020. So remember that if P equals to Q, then P equals to, if we substitute 0.5, so substituting that, what you get is NCN 0.5 to the power of n. For larger values of n, binomial distribution tends to Poisson distribution. It is suitable to use binomial distribution only for small values of n. It is suitable to use binomial distribution only for small values of n, because it is a discrete, so we cannot use for large values of n, so we should use small values of n. In binomial distribution, the mean and variance are equal. Whether it is equal? No, it is not equal. It is a mean equals to n into p and variance equals to n into p into q. They are not equal. If p, q and n are probability, that is success, failure and number of trials respectively in binomial distribution, what is its standard deviation? So the answer is variance for binomial distribution is, that is v equals to n into p into q. Standard deviation equals to square root of variance, that is equals to square root of npq. So normal distribution is applied for. So this is a continuous. Binomial is discrete, normal is continuous. The shape of the normal curve is bell shaped. So this question also asked in the VTU-ETR 2020. Okay, remember that. The shape of the normal curve is, same question they have asked in the VTU-ETR, bell shaped. Answer. Normal distribution is symmetric is about mean. Normal distribution is symmetric is about mean. For standard normal variate, the value of mean is 0. So remember, for normal variate, mean value is 0 and standard deviation value is 1. So the area under a standard normal curve, the area under the standard normal curve is, this question is also asked in the VTU-ETR. So this question and this question, okay, you can check in the VTU-ETR question paper, research methodology. Okay, the area under a standard normal curve is, the answer is 1. The area under a standard normal curve is 1. If you get a mean, that is for a standard normal variate, the value of mean is 0 and the standard deviation value is 1 and the area under a standard normal curve is also 1. Standard normal curve is symmetric about the value, that is 0. For a standard normal variate, the value of standard deviation is 1. Normal distribution is also known as what? Gaussian distribution. Skewness of normal distribution is 0. Skewness of normal distribution is 0. For a normal distribution, its mean, median, mode are equal. Whether it is equal? True. It is for normal distribution, mean, median, mode are equal. But not mean, standard deviation are not equal. Mean equals to 0, standard deviation equals to 1. Okay. In normal distribution, the highest value of ordinate occurs at mean. The answer is mean. The shape of the normal curve depends on its standard deviation. The shape of the normal curve depends on what? Depends on the standard deviation. The value of constant E appearing in normal distribution is, that is, the value is 2.7183. In standard normal distribution, the value of mode is mean equals to 0, mode equals to 0 and median equals to 0, because we have already discussed that in normal distribution its mean, median, mode are equal. So all the value will be 0 only. If m is the mean of Poisson distribution, then p of 0 is given by, so p of x equals to e to the power of minus m to the power of x divided by x factorial. So x equals to 0. So then you will get e to the power of minus M. So the answer A is the right answer. So this question also asked in the question paper. Just instead of E, they have instead of M, they have given the value is mu. Okay, if mu is the mean of Poisson distribution, then P of 0 is e to the power of minus mu you will get. So that is the right answer. So this also question asked in the VTU-ETR. This question also asked in the VTU-ETR, that is PhD entrance exam. Next, for a Poisson distribution, if mean equals to 1, then P of 1 is. So the answer is you will get 1 divided by E. You substitute same in this equation. Okay, this equation. Okay, they have given M equals to 1. So you will get 1 divided by E. E to the power of minus 1 you will get. So the answer you will get is 1 divided by E. The recurrence relation between P of x and P of x plus 1 in a Poisson distribution is given by, that is, x plus 1 into P of x plus 1 minus M into P of x equals to 0. That is what you will get the relation between P of x and P of x plus 1 in Poisson distribution. Poisson distribution is applied for, it is a discrete random variable. Okay, so remember, normal distribution is continuous, binomial is discrete, and Poisson distribution is also discrete. In Poisson distribution, the mean and variance are equal. So they are saying that mean and variance are equal in the Poisson distribution. If M is the mean of a Poisson distribution, then variance is given by what? The variance is given by M. In Poisson distribution, if N is the number of trials and P is the probability of success, then mean value is given by M equals to what? NP. So mean value is NP and the variance is M. So in next class we shall discuss with the other MCQ. Thank you for watching. Subscribe channel for more updates.